Welcome to Chromatic Counsel, the podcast where we dive into the journey of attorneys, their successes, challenges, and of course, their go-to colors. I'm your host, Carrie Heaps, and as a color and body language influencer and contributor, I help attorneys and other service professionals make powerful first impressions, build their confidence, and master the art of nonverbal communication. And speaking of nonverbal communication, have you ever wondered what your body language says in the courtroom, during mediation, or even in the boardroom? So that's exactly what I teach in my Bodies Don't Lie boot camp. So if you are interested in learning more, click on the link in the show notes below. I have a great show lined up for you today. And today, my guest is my dear colleague and friend, Nicole Chaplin. And she is an author, a personal development coach. Through her workshops, personal trainings, she helps fiercely ambitious women design their ideal life, provide mentorship and support to help them manage and maximize their highest potential. And after many years of a successful C-level corporate career in finance, she has found her next calling, and she's now set out to help her tribe in finding theirs through corporate leadership workshops, personal coaching, and other avenues. She's inspired by the belief that when we pursue and audacious goals, yes, even impossible goals, we not only set ourselves free from all types of suffering, but we also see the world on a much higher and more inspired path. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Carrie. I'm so delighted to be here. Hello again. It's been a while, but
It has been. And I know I always call you Nicole, and I think you go by both, Nicole and
yes.
Nikki, just so everybody knows. But I would love for you to tell the listening audience just a little bit more, if you wouldn't mind. Just share a bit more about your professional journey, because I know there's a story there, and really what inspired you to start doing coaching.
Great question. And I'd love to share. First of all, to tell you how my journey started, I have to take you back a little bit. I started out right out of college by joining financial services. But even before I tell you about that, I have to tell you my background before. I came from a family where in terms of goal setting and having high aspirations, really, I have to be honest, there wasn't much of it there. Fast forward though, went to college, got my undergraduate, got my graduate degree, and then, as I said, I joined financial services. At the time, the mindset in financial services, or at least I joined as a junior analyst, just to set the record straight, very, very junior. The mindset at that point was climb the corporate ladder, chase the titles, chase the promotions, chase the corner office. And for me, it worked out really well because I did get the promotions, I did get the corner office, and I did get the title. However, that really isn't enough. And that really was not enough because I got to the point where I was thinking about what's next. But as you know, as you're climbing the corporate ladder, you're managing a lot of teams, right? You're coaching a lot of teams. And I'm happy to say many of the people that I coached in at that time in those teams, they went on to have very successful careers, right? And that's one of the things that I'm proud as of. However, for me, in financial services at the time, there was a lot of consolidation going on where eventually my job was consolidated. We got acquired by a much larger bank, and my job was one of the jobs that was consolidated. Like I said, we were just terminated because of duplication of services. What I learned from that experience, though, and this is what brought me to coaching, was the thing that resonated most with me, the thing that was deepest in my soul, was the fact that I love to help people excel. just it was just a natural thing for me. And
Mhm.
by coaching different personalities, different team members, you get to understand people on a very human level, right?
Mhm.
One of the issues that was always there is, am I just doing this work just because I'm getting a paycheck? What is the next thing for me? But beyond that, I realize when a person is asking that kind of question, there is a disconnect and a misalignment there between what their soul is asking them to do and what the paycheck is providing.
Mhm.
At some point, we all need to move from paycheck to purpose. Sometimes we can combine both of them, obviously, but a paycheck does not necessarily give you the meaning, the fulfillment, and the purpose that we're all seeking. Long story short, after I left the corporate world, I was kind of in a fog. I was wondering, what next? What shall I do? I knew, though, that in some way I wanted to continue my coaching. And so I got certified as a certified dream builder coach. And this is what I do today. This is what I love to do. This is this is my soul calling.
Mhm.
So that is my journey from corporate financial services to coaching individuals and helping people who are ambitious and maybe they don't necessarily know what they want right now, but they know that what they're doing is not it. It's either insufficient or it's unfulfilling or it's making them unhappy. But somehow those pieces aren't coming together the way they would like it to. So that's my journey.
I love that. And I wrote down while you were talking two things. So, paycheck to purpose, just throwing that out there for you, Nicole. I think that would make an amazing book title. So, for your next book, Paycheck to Purpose. But
Thank
you're
you.
right. A lot of people do. They're caught up in that lingo of I've got to work. And I think, we have a lot of attorneys that listen to our show and they struggle. A lot of them are at a crossroads because they're trying to chase more hours or they're trying to make partner and they're putting so much pressure on themselves and so much pressure on, you can only do so much, as I think as a billable hour person.
Yes.
So what would be two key pieces of advice that you would offer to those people who are listening, who are kind of struggling, maybe with something similar as you, being at that crossroads, like just two things that you'd say to them?
First of all, it's a difficult place when you come to a crossroads, right? Because in a way, you feel like your identity is not what you want it to be, or you feel like you're disconnected from your identity. It's a difficult place, so I acknowledge that. One of the first piece of advice that I would give is pause. Really, really pause. Don't just jump into the next thing to get you from point A to point B. Pause and really think about, what is it that I really want to do? What is it that I really, really love to do?
Mhm.
What is it that I can be really, really good at? Pause and pause again. Come back to it. Ask yourself, if this thing that I really, really absolutely want to do, if it should work out, where would I be in the next year? If this thing that really lights me up and I'm going to do it, I'm going to go for it, where would I be if it works out? Where would I be in 3 years? That's one piece of advice because I can tell you from experience, when you jump from, let's say, the frying pan into the fire, from the crossroads into something that you think is going to tide you over, and you spend the next few years doing that, you have just spent, not invested, you have spent a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years doing something that does not have the long-term impact that you
Mhm.
want it to have. And I'll go back a little bit to the confusion between doing something that you love versus doing something that pays the bills, right? Because
Mhm.
you do have to live. We live in a society of it's an economic society, and we do have to take care of that. And sometimes those two things aren't the same,
Mhm.
and that's where the pause comes in. If I do it, what's going to happen 3 years down the road, let alone 5 years down the road? It
Mhm.
might work out, but you
Yeah.
need a plan to get you there, right? You need a
Right.
plan, not just be in panic mode, right?
Mhm.
The other thing that I would say to help when you're at a crossroads, and this was very helpful for me, was to find yourself a network of like minded people. And that can either be a mastermind coach or a mastermind itself
Mhm.
or a networking group, right? And sometimes you'll have to experiment because you might not find the right group immediately. But I'll tell you two things that this group can do for you, whether it's the mastermind group or a networking group or a social group or a professional group. It will get you there a lot faster, right? It's
Mhm.
like a ship. that takes you across the waters.
Mhm.
Not just what it can do for you, but what you can do for the others in the group.
Mhm.
I cannot stress enough how important that is. And I cannot stress enough how, when you start out your career, or you're in the middle, or you're at the crossroads, you've come to a crossroads, your networking group will help you. Your tribe will help you. Why? You'll feel at home in the group,
Mhm.
right? And I think a lot of times when we're in a crossroads, and I hope this is answering your questions, your question, we feel
Oh,
like
it is.
we can't share because we feel, quote unquote, the shame. Where does it come from?
Mhm.
Another topic for another time. We feel the shame. We feel we should do it by ourselves. We are better than that. We know, we feel like we can do this. We can take care of this.
Mhm.
From my personal experience, one of the best way to get across the crossroad, across that plateau when you find yourself there,
Mhm.
is lean into your network.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Lean in and ask for help. You'd be surprised.
And I can, listening audience, I can attest to what Nicole is talking about because we've talked, we've known each other since 2019. And, it really is that pause is super important. And you're right. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and it goes by so quickly. This kind of leads me into my next question because, and I think I know the answer to one of these. I want to see if I'm right, Nicole. But what are two things that really hold people back from pursuing their dreams? Now, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but is one of them have something to do with money or financial security? Is that one of them? I'm just
Oh,
curious if I'm right.
absolutely. Money is one of them. But here's
Okay.
the really insidious thing when we think it's money,
Hmm.
right? What really is holding us back is that we had not put the plan in place, because things will always happen. You will always have something unusual that comes up that you have to deal with, right? And you think,
Hmm.
well, if I take the money from here to take care of where I want to go with my business, I just don't see how I can fill that gap, right? I
Okay.
just don't see how do I fill that gap? And this gets us into our mindset. Our first thought might be it's money. Beyond the money, though, is thinking that we have to get ready to either get the money or do the thing that we want to do that will get us where we want to go. Do you understand the difference there?
Yeah. So mindset, I guess that would be if you were answering the question without me throwing in my answer, that would probably been number one, I guess.
Yes,
Mindset. Yeah.
mindset, absolutely number one,
Okay.
because even though there's the money issue, and believe me, money issue is real, because at some point that is the thing that comes to it, comes into focus. First of all, is, oh, well, where do I get the money? I mean, how do I come up with the money?
Hmm.
Before we even get there, we really have to address the mindset issue, because since the money came up as an issue, there is an answer on the other side,
Hmm.
because there's never a question without an answer.
Yeah.
The question presupposes that there is an answer to it. I
Hmm.
would start off with the mindset. And once you can address the mindset, you will figure out a way to bridge yourself to get the funding that you need. But money is a real issue. We live in
Hmm.
an economic society, and we have to deal with either the lack of it or the unavailability of it.
Hmm.
But I would say the first thing to do would be to fix the mindset.
Awesome. And now you're working on your third book. So tell us a little bit about that, what we can expect, because I know you mentioned you're getting kind of close to being done.
Yes, I'm so excited with my third book. What I'm wanting to address in my third book is a lot of the lessons that I learned through corporate training and also through coaching, in that I really don't want a lot of people to go through what I have been through. But there is a way that we can intentionally design the kind of life that we want to have. This does not mean that it will be without issues here and there, but there is a tried and true proven method to really design our life, right? And many
Hmm.
times people go, we go looking for purpose. Well, hello, in the decade that we're in right now, with everything changing so fast, it really comes back to us to design what it is or how it is we want to live our lives, because purpose is not something that comes to you. Purpose is something that you evolve into.
Mhm.
Contrary to what we've been taught in school, look for your purpose, look over here, look over there, and you're wondering, well, what is my purpose? What is it? My way of thinking, you really today have a responsibility to design exactly how you would like to see your life play out, right? And there are many aspects to it. There's the aspect of, your self growth. There's another pillar of your financial growth. There's the other pillars of your health, your family. But you really have that responsibility to connect all of them and to design them in a way that will be most fulfilling to you.
And I love that. So, like you said, we live in really weird times right now. And, obviously, a lot of attorneys, they really struggle with stress management, work-life balance. Wellness is a huge issue too, because they're working so much. And in your opinion, and again, I don't think this is just for attorneys, but really for anybody who's listening, what changes are needed most when it comes to happiness, like that work-life balance? Some people don't think that exists, but and just overall well-being, like what changes do you think need to happen?
I think some of the most important things that we need to do, Carrie, is just the same way that when we set out on any given day, week, or month or quarter to lay out our financial plans, right, and the goals that we want to achieve. We ought to have a line item in there for our own wellness, a
Mhm.
line item, a specific line item with a dollar amount attached to it and a schedule attached to it that says, this is for me, this time is for me, this is for my self-care, this is for my wellness, this is for my mind, my overall health. Just the same way that we lay out everything else,
Mhm.
because we typically do that without including ourselves, right? It's like, where
Mhm.
does self come in? Self comes in by, oh, I have to get to this, oh, I have to do that, oh, I have to accomplish, I have to plan all the things.
Mhm.
Many times what's left out is, where does self come in? I
Mhm.
mean, how many hours did you plug in to take care of yourself? And did you attach a schedule to it? And did you put a dollar amount to it? Because sometimes it's going to cost you. Sometimes it's free. It may just be a walk in the woods, or, if you live close to the beach, maybe a walk on the beach every so often for an hour or two. In
Mhm.
some cases, it might cost you, right? It
Mhm.
might cost you a little bit of money to have some self-care. But the most important thing, schedule the time in, and that's
Mhm.
not negotiable.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, because the show obviously is called Chromatic Counsel, my favorite question for everybody always is, because I love to ask, is if there's particular colors or wardrobe pieces that you rely on to feel really confident and project a strong presence. And I know you've worked with me before, so I know you've had your colors done, but like, do you have one or two colors that you kind of been gravitating towards just as you're building, your coaching business, that you're like, wow, I feel really great in this color?
I love that question.
Hmm.
The color that I really feel great in, especially when I'm coaching, is the color that I happen to be wearing today, which is a dark green color. I love that color. When I'm doing corporate coaching, I feel more confident and more myself in some shade of blue, maybe a dark blue, or maybe even a midnight blue. It just feels like I'm more grounded when I'm wearing that
Hmm.
color.
Hmm.
My lighter color, such as the color that I'm wearing today, it's more of my happier sort of. It brings me into my happier place. Let's
Hmm.
put it that way. But those would be my two go-to colors for projecting how I'm feeling, in
Hmm.
terms of delivering confidence, and in terms of just bringing up the energy of the people that I'm working with or coaching, whether it be corporate or on an individual level.
Yeah, and it looks amazing on you. So I love that. And I love that you wore that today. Now, before we wrap up, is there anything that you'd like to share with the listening audience before we go?
Yes, absolutely. Aside from my book, which is coming up very soon, it will be out in November, mid November. Please
Hmm.
go to my website. It's called thinkbrave.net, and you can book a coaching call. It's complimentary, and I'll be happy if you to talk to you if you join me, and happy to go through a free coaching session with you.
And we do have the links to connect with Nicole in the show notes. So all you have to do is click on the link, go directly to her site to work with her or to get one of the books or to do some coaching. And Nicole, I want to thank you so much for your time today. I love what you've shared. And I know that the audience is going to resonate and get some value out of what you've shared today. So thank you for spending some time with me today.
Thank you so much, Carrie. It's been my pleasure.
Absolutely. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. That is a wrap on today's episode of Chromatic Counsel. And again, I hope you found inspiration and insight. And if you know of an attorney who is looking for some additional insights and just some things that could help them with their career, I hope you will share this podcast episode with them and make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button. I always forget to say that when I am leaving the show. And if you are interested in being a guest on the show, if you have something to contribute to the legal community, if you work within the legal community, I would love to have you apply to be a guest. There's a link in the show notes below. Just click on that to start the application process. And I'm so thankful everybody was able to tune in. And as always, I am wishing you continued success.